Colors mean nothing for a ride's actual layout or forces, but it does add a distinct appearance that could make a ride more or less appealing. However, today I'm going to be throwing all of that behind and ranking up the top 3 best coasters for each color scheme. I'll be going off the track color for these rides, and if a ride has multiple track colors such as Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, I will only include one of those colors. Now let's start off with our first color, which is red. Red is one of the most popular roller coaster colors, mainly due to the fact that it pops very nicely, but let's get into the best red coasters. Coming in at the number 3 spot is X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is regarded as one of the most insane roller coasters in the world, with the flipping being very intense and some moments giving bone-crushing G-forces. It's also pretty polarizing as some of it can be pretty uncomfortable, but if you don't sit on an edge seat where it's rough, it's a really fun experience. Number 2 is also regarded as an intensity machine, with this one being Maverick at Cedar Point. Maverick has almost everything going for it, with great airtime on the drop and camelbacks, some rapid fire turns, and a forceful second launch. Along with that, the setting is just gorgeous by the shores of Lake Erie, and it all adds up into a world-class ride. Topping the list of red coasters is the one and only Zadra at Energylandia. Take a ride like Iron Gwazi and make it lower to the ground and have more whip, and the final product is this masterpiece of a coaster. It may not be as long as a ride like Steel Vengeance, but it packs some mighty punch in the 40 seconds of ride time that it has, not letting up at any point until you hit that final brake run. Moving down the rainbow, orange is next up, and starting the list is Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. This is one of the oldest RMCs, but they still nailed every aspect of it with perfect interaction with the quarry wall and drops off it. Iron Rattler has some slow portions, but when it gets going, it's a hard coaster to beat, including that airtime-filled drop off the quarry wall into the turn under the quarry before hitting the brake run. That is just pure insanity in the back rows and gives you no time to think about it whatsoever. Number 2 is yet another RMC, this time in Europe, Untamed at Walibi Holland. Untamed isn't impressive based off the height or speed stats, but the ride is surprisingly long and manages to pack in 5 hang-time filled inversions. Untamed also doesn't fail to deliver the standard RMC ejector airtime, with a few outer banks and wave turns mixed into the layout. Topping the orange coasters is Expedition G-Force at Holiday Park in Germany. Intamin never fails to deliver crazy airtime, and this coaster looks no different. The drop in the back row looks absurd with the disorienting twist, and the airtime hills that follow give violent airtime. Even as a mega coaster, the ride also has some positive G's on the turn, making for a crazy ride that lasts super long and has an amazing setting. Moving away from the normal colors, let's look at maroon. Number 3 is Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion, which is yet another RMC coaster. Twisted is a very deceiving ride with the drop seeming very tame at first, but the hang time in the front and whip in the back is always surprising. The airtime that follows is really hard to describe. It just flings you out of your seat every time, and it does it all right with a few exceptions, including the other inversions with good hang time. Another thing I like about the ride is that it isn't just straight airtime. There's moments of airtime like the trick track double up and the outer banked turnaround where the moments of airtime are banked, making for seemingly more intense airtime. Number 2 is a brand new coaster opening just this year, Two Tatis at Park Asterix. This coaster wastes no time with insane elements, starting off with a hang time filled cutback and some airtime hills. The swing launch portion is stunning, and the backwards airtime will steal any sense of reality you had. The second half of the ride has more rapid fire elements while spicing up the ride with airtime moments, and more hang time moments such as the stall. Overall, this coaster never lets up until that final brake run hits, and it is just incredible from start to finish. While Two Tatis is a world-class roller coaster, Steel Vengeance still takes the cake as the number 1 maroon coaster. This coaster is a barrage of ejector airtime moments throughout, with the occasional hangtime moment on a roll. It's hard to describe the entirety of the experience, as it's just insane from start to finish. When the mid-course doesn't slow you down much, the second half might just be the best in the world, and even when it hits, it's still amazing and world-class coaster. Brown is a color that is mainly used on wooden coasters, and the next 3 coasters are some of the best out there. Wildfire is a coaster remotely located at a zoo in Sweden, but it doesn't fail at providing an insane experience by any means. The ride has unimaginable views of the wilderness, and the drop quickly takes away those views by whipping you violently. The ride follows through with a series of wave turns and inversions, all delivering in a perfect sequence done perfectly by Alan Schilke and RMC. One of the best things about this RMC is even the second half feels like a smaller scale RMC, and it combines all of the best elements from those smaller scale RMCs and makes it into one long second half, which makes it incredible. At the number 2 spot is the Voyage at Holiday World, which is a Gravity Group made wooden coaster. This ride shows off the best of almost every force, with airtime for days and some crazy bank turns giving off positive and lateral G-forces. Along with that, the ride has a killer setting that allows for the return run to keep getting faster and making for a crazy experience through tunnels and with a crazy triple down. And to no one's surprise, number 1 is El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. Pure insanity is the only way to describe the ride experience of El Toro, with insane ejector airtime galore and some crazy positives mixed in. Also, the back row will send you out of Earth's orbit on the drop. And before you have time to think about the insanity that just happened, you go into the double camelbacks, providing crazy ejector airtime. Let's move back to the rainbow with yellow. Coming in at number 3 is Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster. This coaster has insane pacing, and the airtime is off the charts in some spots. The trains may be a bit uncomfortable, but the whip well enough makes up for it. The pre-drop also gives the ride some decent speed into the main drop, which gives incredible whip in the back rows. There are also some inversions like the dive loop and corkscrew that are very intense and give some good laterals. Number 2 is Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. This coaster is very similar to Two Tatis, but the coaster is a little shorter and with a few less moments of whip. This ride still has surprising moments of hang time on both the 0G roll and stall, and aggressive airtime moments with the bunny hill during the swing launch portion and wave turn finale. One thing I didn't mention with Two Tatis is that the spike in the back rows is absolutely incredible, giving great weightlessness. And coming in at the number 1 spot is one of the most polarizing coasters in the world, Skyrush at Hershey Park. This ride has absurd airtime in every row and on every hill, and the restraints only tighten throughout the coaster, making it not the most pleasant experience. However, if you look past the restraints, the coaster is one of the most intense in the world, with great positives on the turn, including on the pull out of the drop, which feels like an absolute car crash. That does it for part 1 of this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 coming out in a few weeks. And make sure to subscribe especially because every 10 subscribers I gain in the next 30 days, I have to do one ride on Hurler. This is 0G Coaster signing out. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next train.